dignitaries on the stage, colleagues and friends, good morning and welcome to this event organized by CII. Just want to start off with some observations. I don't know how many of you know, it's about 50 years since the Green Revolution was ushered in this country. However, we still witness agrarian distress in various parts of the country on a fairly regular basis. At times, a bumper crop results in poor realization for farmers. In other years, it's a poor monsoon. And some other times, it's heavy showers that destroy a crop. On the other side, you have multiple levels of intermediation in our markets, which leads to a much smaller share of the consumer spend for the farmer. Then you have consumers who, thanks to better awareness, globalization, and higher purchasing power, are seeking fresher, superior, and wider variety of grains and other products. So that's, a bit of a context. And all these invariably point to the fact that our value chains, the farm to thali value chains, need to improve a lot. And they need to be far more efficient. And we need to do this while ensuring farmers' incomes increase. They double by 22 as our Prime Minister's objectives, as we all know, without raising consumer prices by too much. So for the farmers, increasing agri income, and I'm just simplifying it here, can happen in two ways. You can increase the total agri output by increasing the area under sowing and or have higher productivity, or ensure higher prices for their produce. I will focus on the second aspect as to how we can help farmers realize higher prices for their produce. And I've looked at 4 ways of doing so. The first is access to spot markets. Access to spot markets where price discovery is transparent. As Mr. Chaudhary said in his remarks, we have APMCs, but I don't think they've delivered. So access to spot markets where transparent price discovery happens are extremely important, where the farmer is not forced to sell his or her produce at a price fixed by someone other than himself. He should have the right to reject a price quotation if it feels it's too low. Now, this sort of a spot market actually exists in Karnataka at the moment, which has linked 157 mandis in the state, and it is a collaboration between NCDEX E-Markets Limited and the Karnataka state government, and something that ENAM is aspiring to do in other parts of the country. So that's positive. To quote from a Niti Aayog report titled Doubling Farmers' Incomes, Karnataka farmers have realized 38% more income in 2015-16 from sale of agri commodities thanks to this trading platform created by NEML and the state government. So this is a live example of how transparency in spot markets can help farmers in getting better prices. The second point relates to access to derivatives markets. And I use the word access in a very broad sense to mean both visibility to prices of derivatives markets and the ability to trade in derivative markets. Visibility to traded derivatives prices ensures that farmers can take price signals from futures contracts, which are say 3 to 6 months in the future, to make sowing decisions, to decide which crop may bring them maximum return. If farmers have the ability to trade on derivatives markets, they can of course hedge their price risk much before they even harvest their crop. In fact, over the past 1 year, NCDEX has worked closely with FPOs, helping them develop this ability to trade in derivatives markets. NCDEX is currently working with 2.9 lakh farmers, and this number keeps on growing every month. Across 13 states of this country, more than 43,000 farmers from 47 FPOs have actually traded on the NCDEX platform, and another 1.4 lakh farmers have opened accounts on the exchange. and they are ready to use the derivatives platform. So I guess that will happen once the Kharif season comes into, is in full swing. So these 43,000 farmers have got a realization, a higher realization to the extent of 8 to 25% for their produce. And this higher realization is on account of farmers being educated to and trained to clean, sort, and grade their produce before they deliver on the exchange platform. And secondly, there are a lesser number of intermediaries on an electronic platform. This initiative to connect farmers to the exchange is still in its infancy, but we have received very encouraging results. We've had some challenges along the way, and I would like to call out a couple of these. These challenges are around people and scalability. By people, I specifically refer to professionals who work with FPOs as CEOs, directors, or in other roles where they manage the operations of the FPO and guide them closely. There is a dearth of such professionals, and FPOs could benefit a lot if full-time employees are available for some of these critical roles. Related to the people issue is the issue of scalability. The ownership structure of FPOs, where only farmers can be members, limits the capital that the FPO has access to or can raise on its own. I believe there is a case for private capital to be allowed in FPOs, at least to a small extent, say about 25%. And such a move will allow FPOs to invest aggressively in progressive farming techniques and machinery and allow them to increase their incomes. So I hope one of the sessions today, later today, deliberates on these issues of people and scalability at FPOs, amongst others. The third point is about the facility for farmers to store their produce if current prices are too low. Availability of good quality warehousing infrastructure close to the farm gate will enhance the ability of the farmer to sell their stocks at prices that they are comfortable to sell at. About 3 years ago, when NCDEX made Gulab Bagh in Bihar a basis center for its maize Rabi contract, high quality warehousing infrastructure came up thanks to our warehousing service partners, a couple of them who are sitting here. Farmers and FPOs have made good use of these warehouses, and they now contribute nearly 10% of all the deliveries in this contract. And they've got a higher realization to the tune of 15 to 20% because of this warehousing infrastructure. Coming to my fourth and last point, which is intricately linked to the facility to store produce, is the vital ability and facility to raise finance for the stock lying in a warehouse. And I think the facility to raise finance, especially post-harvest finance, got a shot in the arm when Warehouse Development and Regulatory Authority, WDRA, issued licenses to two entities to establish repositories. The repository established by NCDEX, which is called the National E-Repository Limited, should go live this month. The creation of repositories is a significant development. The warehouse receipts issued will be in the electronic and in a negotiable form, making the instrument of warehouse receipt far safer, thereby limiting the scope for fraud and making it easier for banks to finance this instrument. It will bring in much needed standardization in warehousing infrastructure, and most importantly, it will make it easy for farmers to access institutional finance at cheaper rates. So, and this is where I think I can bring all these 4 points together, that if warehouses can be declared as deemed yards and they are accredited by the exchange, then the 4 points that I mentioned, a spot market, access to derivatives markets, storage, and financing, all of them can be available under one roof, which also takes care of, the spot futures integration. So with that, I would like to wish all the best for the discussions discussions at today's conference, and I look forward to the ideas and suggestions that will emerge from these deliberations. Thank you very much.